dear students. So in the last class, we already discussed briefly regarding the non-chordates and what are the different phylums which comes under the non-chordates. So next we'll move on to the phylum Vertebrata and its classification. Okay. So phylum Vertebrata. Here you can see that the notochord, it is replaced in adults by the cartilaginous or the bony vertebral column. But vertebrata, or you can also say that generally they are made up of vertebral column. Okay. Where in case of adults it is replaced by the cartilaginous or the bony vertebral column. But again here it is in the anterior most part of the nerve cord. Anterior part it is replaced by the nerve cord, whereas in the posterior it forms the spinal cord. The presence of the nerve cord, which is specialized in the form of the brain, and the posterior part it is in the form of the spinal cord. Then another important, you can see that the brain, it is covered by the brain box, or it is also called as the cranium, which is justifying the name craniata. Fine. Brain, it is protected by the brain case or the cranium. Fine. Next here in case of vertebrates, you can see that the skin, it is covered by the upper epidermis and lower dermis. Fine. Again here the epidermis, it is modified into exoskeleton like scales. You can see the presence of scales, feathers on head, horns and the claws, wings. And in some cases, in the case of dermis, it is modified into scales. Okay. Epidermis, the upper epidermis and the lower dermis, and the epidermis, it is modified into exoskeleton, like you can see the presence of scales, in some feathers, hair, horns, claws, nails and the hooves. Whereas in case of dermis, they are modified into scales. So these are the characteristic features of the vertebrates. Then in case of vertebrates, you can see that the nostrils, either it is single or the double. Then there is a presence of pharyngeal gill slits at some stages of the life cycle or the life history. Then the circulatory system, it is of closed type. Okay. Then the excretory and the reproductive system, they are closely associated to form the urogenital organs together. Okay. Where in case of vertebrate, you can see that the excretory and the reproductive organs, they are closely associated to form the urogenital organs. Fine. So these are the important characteristic features of vertebrates. Firstly, you can see that in case of vertebrates, that is a cellular notochord, it is replaced in the adults by the cartilaginous or the bony vertebral column. Then the anteriormost part of the nerve cord, it is specialized to form the brain, while the posterior part, it forms the spinal cord. First is the vertebral column, second is the nerve cord or the spinal cord, and the third comes the brain. It is covered by the brain case or the cranium, justifying the name craniata. Again the skin, it is made up of epidermis, upper epidermis and the lower dermis. Again this epidermis, it is modified into the skeleton like scales, feathers, hair, horns, nails, etc. And in some epidermis, some epidermis are modified into scales. Fine. Then nostrils is single or double, and the presence of pharyngeal gill slits can be seen in some stage of the life. And vascular system, it is of closed type. Then the excretory and the reproductive organs, they are closely associated to form the urogenital organ. So last character of the phylum Vertebrata, it is the locomotory organs. Here you can see that either they have fins or the limbs. Okay. So far we have discussed the silent features of the phylum Vertebrates. Next we will move on to the classification of the vertebrates are further classified. The subphylum Vertebrata, it is divided into two divisions. One is that is namely Orgnatha, and another one is the Gnathostomata. These are the two subphylum of the phylum Vertebrata. Fine. So again here the Gnatha, first division is the Orgnatha. Orgnatha nothing but the absence of jaws. So not find any jaws here. Generally, they include some primitive vertebrates where the mouth is not supported by the jaws. Hence, they are called as jawless vertebrates. Fine. Agnatha, they are commonly known as jawless vertebrates or the absence of the jaws. So again here under this division, generally it includes the class Cyclostomata. Class Cyclostomata, it comes under the Agnatha. So generally it is represented by the members like lamprey and the hagfishes, petronoizon, etc. These are the some of the examples which comes under the class Cyclostomata. Okay. So next comes the division 2, that is the Gnathostomata. It is reverse of the Gnatha. Here you can see that they have got the presence of jaws. It includes advanced vertebrates where the mouth is supported by the jaws. Fine. Hence they are known as jawed vertebrates. They are known as jawed vertebrates. Okay. All advanced vertebrates, they comes under this division. So this division, that is the Gnathostomata, it is divided into two superclasses. One is Pisces, another one is the Tetrapod. Okay. These two which comes under the superclass of the Gnathostomata. So in detail, we will be dealing the classification of the Pisces, or commonly they are known as fishes, and the Tetrapods. Fine. So this is an outline classification of the vertebrata. So generally vertebrata, it is divided into two subphylums. One is Agnatha, another one is the Gnathostomata. Agnatha, they are commonly known as jawless vertebrates, where you can see that generally they includes all primitive vertebrates. Fine. So under this Agnatha, it includes the class Cyclostomata. So in detail already we have discussed all the characteristic features of the Cyclostomata. Fine. So here just you have to remember the class name and the example. So example, lamprey and the hagfish. Next, division 2, it is the Gnathostomata, which is commonly known as presence of jaws. Here they includes advanced vertebrates like mouth. This generally is supported by the jaws. Fine. They are known as jawed vertebrates. So again here, the division of Gnathostomata, it is further divided into two superclasses. One is Pisces and another one is the Tetrapod. Fine. So next we will move on to the detailed classification and the characters of Pisces and the Tetrapods. Okay. So far we have discussed the characteristic features of phylum Vertebrata and what are the different subphylums which comes under the Vertebrata. So next we'll move on to the different classes which comes under the superclass Pisces, that is the fishes. So again here in the fishes, generally it is classified into two classes. One is class Osteichthyes and another one is Chondrichthyes and Osteichthyes. Chondrichthyes, they are commonly known as cartilaginous fishes, and the Osteichthyes, they are known as bony fishes. So again here you might have seen that I have made two columns and written as a difference. But in your exam, generally it is asked for 5 marks, very important question. Either they may ask difference between Chondrichthyes or the Osteichthyes, or separately 5 marks general characters of Chondrichthyes and the Osteichthyes. So you can write only the characters of the difference. Fine. So first point, you can see how generally the Chondrichthyes, they are the cartilaginous fishes, which includes shark, skates and the rays. So these are the examples which comes under the Chondrichthyes. Next comes the Osteichthyes. So again here the Osteichthyes, they are known as bony fishes. Examples: mackerels, sardines, spearfish and seahorse. Fine. These are the examples which comes under the Osteichthyes. Now comes the characters. So first point is that Chondrichthyes, they are marine in distribution. Fine. Whereas Osteichthyes, you can see them in both fresh water as well as the marine water. Second point is that you can see in case of Chondrichthyes, the endoskeleton is cartilaginous and here the endoskeleton is bony. It is bony, right? And the third point is that here you can see the scales are embedded in the skin, and they are the microscopic placard scales. They are having the placard scales, and here you can see that they have got cycloid and tenoid scales. Okay, so in detail we have already seen how the cycloid, placard and tenoid scales are. All the images and videos we have already seen. Okay, so just you have to keep in mind chondritis, they have got the placard scales, and osteitis, they have got cycloid and the tenoid scales. Next point, here you can see that the gill slits, they vary from 5 to 7 pairs, and they are naked, means they don't have any operculum. So you know that operculum is nothing but it is a covering of the gills. So your operculum is absent, whereas here it is present, and the gill slits, they vary from 4 pairs, then 4 pairs or less than 4 pairs. So these are the difference. But when you see the characters, so here you can see that chondritis general characters you can write like this. You can write the examples first. Then first point is that they are marine in distribution. The endoskeleton is cartilaginous, and the scales are embedded in the skin, and they are the microscopic placard scales, and the gill slits, they vary from 5 to 7 pairs, and they are naked, means they don't have any operculum. This operculum means they are the gill covering generally. They are known as gill covering or gill protection to the gills. It is absent here. Whereas in case of osteitis, they are found both freshwater as well as marine water, and the endoskeleton is bony, and the scales over the skin, they are bony, and they have got the placard and tenoid scales. And here the gill slits, again they vary, like they may be 4 pairs or less than 4 pairs. Again they are covered with the operculum. Fine. So these are some of the characters of chondritis and the osteitis, or you can write in the form of difference or general characters. So remaining characters we will see now. Okay, so next remaining difference are, you can see here in case of chondritis, the caudal fin is heterocircle in nature, and here the caudal fin is, it is homocircle. Heterocircle means it will be like this. Both the ends of the tail will be unequal. One will be long and the one will be small. And the homocircle means both the ends will be same. And the mouth and the nostrils are ventral in position. And here you can see that they are terminal in position. Then the alimentary canal, it opens outside by the cloaca aperture, and here the alimentary canal opens outside by anus. Okay, the last comes here in case of chondritis, you can see that the males are provided with a pair of claspers, or they are commonly known as the copulatory organs. But here the claspers are absent. That is, the males are not provided with the claspers. Okay, so these are the difference. So here you can see that in case of chondritis, they have got heterocircle fin, and mouth and the nostrils are ventral in position. The alimentary canal opens outside by cloacal aperture, and males are provided with the claspers of the copulatory organs. And here in case of osteitis, the caudal fin is homocircle, mouth and the nostrils are terminal in position, and the alimentary canal, it opens outside by anus, and males are not provided with the claspers. Fine. So these are the difference between the chondritis and the osteitis. Either they may ask for 5 marks difference, or separately the characters, either separately chondritis characters or the osteitis characters. Either you may write only characters or the difference. Okay.